Welcome back to the IGC Coaching School channel. We have I don't know if you'd consider this episode fun today, but I think it's super informative. And I'm going to give you some coaching education today. So if we haven't met yet, or if you're new here, my name is Liv Chapman. I'm the CEO and co-founder of IGC Coaching School. We have been training and certifying credentialed, ICF credentialed coaches for almost a decade now. I myself have been in the coaching and education space for over 20 years, which is like kind of crazy. And one of the main things that our students ask us, or we run into when we're even trying to get people to start looking into coaching, they're asking, how's it different than therapy? They're asking how it's different than consulting. They're asking, like, what do you actually do on the phone call? How do you actually run a coaching session? And that's what I want to break down today. We've done videos similar to this in the past, but one of the most resounding things that keeps coming up for myself and for our community and our students and our graduates is like, they have such an advantage in the marketplace because they actually know how to coach really, really well. And one of the ways that we teach people to coach really, really well is by following a structured coaching call. Okay. So following not a script. Don't get scared. I'm not going to make you memorize anything, but it's following a structure that ensures results, that is research based, that has evidence that people actually are able to work toward their goals, accomplish their goals, move forward in their life by following the structure that I'm going to teach you today. And what I'm going to teach you today comes exactly from one of our lessons in our level 1 ICF accredited coach training certification course. That was a lot. But we have 2 levels. We have level 1 and we have level 2. And how to run a coaching call, AKA the coaching conversation, is in level 1. All of our courses are live taught. You have, honestly, probably better trainers than what I'm doing here now, but I'm giving you a glimpse into this. This normally would be taught live in a classroom with your trainers, with your mentors, with your peers. And it's like over 90 minutes. Like they get into it, they practice it, they role play it. I'm going to give you the breakdown here today. I'm going to give you one free resource that's going to be able to help you besides or beyond this training. But I mean, the real me is in class. I believe in certification. I believe in well-trained coaches. I believe that we should not be taking other people's lives into our own hands if we do not have the tools, the resources, the training, and the support to be able to actually do that productively. And at the end of the day, the best marketing is being really, really great at what you do. And no coach or no person wants to get to the end of a coaching call and have someone be like, what the F was that? Like, did I just waste an hour of my life? Did I just waste all my money on working with this person? And even as a coach, and we have all had a bad day. We have all had a bad coaching call. We have all had times when we did not follow this structure exactly. And we have like, I'm going to not even say we, this is me. Okay. 10 years in, I can still remember times when I was like, oh my God, I really did not do a good job at that call. I'm about to get an email that says, like, you're fired. And I'm not joking. I've been afraid of that before. And we all have a bad day. This isn't to say that this learning this method is going to prevent any and all shitty days, but it's going to help you feel more confident. It's going to help your clients get better results, and it's going to help to minimize any bad coaching days. Okay. If you don't have this resource already, I want you to go to innerglowcircle.com/100, like the numbers 100. Okay. In that resource, it's called 100 Powerful Coaching Questions. That is going to help you tremendously in the majority of this call. Okay. The majority of a coaching call is actual coaching, which is why you really need to be trained, but start with that if you need to. That's where you're asking powerful questions and you're actively listening and you're reframing and you're monitoring their progress. You're developing an accountability process with them or way to hold them accountable in between sessions. You're tracking what they're saying. Like there's so much that goes into really the art of coaching, but I'm going to give you a little bit of the science of coaching today, which is the exact structure to follow. Okay. So the art is in the questions. We give you some samples. Go get that for free and then come back to the structure. Okay. This is a 6-part structure. Okay. And I call it the 6 C's because it's just easier to remember, like in the moment. Okay. So, a couple things before I get into the structure. I think I keep saying that. Number one, the ICF or the International Coach Federation deems a coaching call to be legit if it's at least 20 minutes. I don't recommend coaching calls under 30 minutes. I don't even recommend that if you're in your first couple of years of coaching, you do anything other than the 60-minute call. Make it easy, make it clean, make it like you. I'm sorry, but unless you're a very skilled coach, I don't think that you can get through the whole call and have a really meaningful transformational session in under 60 minutes. So I said what I said. I coach a lot now in about a 30-minute block, but usually I would say between 30 and 45 minutes max. I don't typically do a 60-minute session at all anymore, and that's a decade into coaching. Okay. So for the sake of this, because as I go through the structure, I'm going to give you some general time limits. This is based on a 60-minute call. Okay. So we're going to go through this structure based on a full hour, and I highly recommend you just do the full hour. Okay. So, number one, the first part of your call is connection. You're going to connect with them. This should be 5 minutes or less. This is where you are getting a pulse for how they're feeling, maybe their vibe, their energy. If it's not good, maybe you lead them through a quick little energy clearing. Maybe if it's a little bit frenetic to start, you say like, all right, I want to make sure you're in a safe, quiet space. Like, do you need to get there? Do you need to be walking while we're on this session? You're connecting with them. Read the room. You may ask them, sometimes our clients do share with us things about their personal lives, or usually, like by usually, I mean always. So they may have mentioned something to you, like I'm going to my cousin's wedding or my kid is sick. Check in on those things. Don't make it the whole call. Okay. Sometimes when you do check in on those things, the client does try to kind of run away with it and turn it into the whole call. Your job, reel them back in. Okay. So connect with them 5 minutes or less. And then you're going to jump right into the second C, which is a review of their commitments. Okay. So you are going, if they start to run away with the call, when you ask them how they're doing, that's okay. Love that for them. Love that for me. I've done it a million times. Shout out to my coach. But you're going to say, hold on, this is a lot going on here. And we're going to get into all of this today. But as your coach, I got to check in a couple things. I've already written down this note to go back to this, but let me check on with you. How did things go with your action steps or your commitments or your goals, whatever you call them, from last week? They're going to update you. And then we're going to say, okay, you're going to have their full project plan going on too, because you got checking in on the short-term goals, which they, are session to session, and the long-term plan, which is ultimately the reason they hired you in the first place. Okay. If you don't have a long-term plan, we offer one to all of our students. We call it the Glow Plan. You could make up your own version of this, but it's basically like if they hired you for a 90-day package, you would reverse engineer it. What does your life need to look like in 90 days? And then you're building the plan backwards. And then all of your commitments and actions that the client is committing to on your sessions and working on in between sessions are supposed to align to that larger plan. Okay. So you're checking in. And also, like, if they're saying, oh, I ended up sick last week, I need to, you may be adjusting the plan a little bit. It is your job, though, at the beginning of the call to check in on the short-term goals and the long-term goals. If you skip over that part, you're skipping over something crucial, and you're typically skipping over like client satisfaction, because they didn't hire you just to chat about why they were sick last week or why they didn't handle this one item on their to-do list. They hired you to create this bigger transformation. So you need to be acknowledging that and bringing it up. We have this tendency, often women do this more than men. I said what I said, to be a little bit too nice And it's not about not being nice. Like we can be kind, we can be loving, we can be caring. The most caring thing you can do as someone's hired professional coach is to talk about the things that they may want to skirt by. So if they hired you to find a new job and you're a month in, they haven't found a new job and they have been doing a lot of little things here and there that you don't really know. You need to figure out how those align to the overall goal. Or you need to say, it seems like what we've been working on in our sessions isn't so much aligned to the reason that you hired me in the first place. What are your thoughts on reworking our project plan? In IGC, we call it the glow plan, but whatever you want to call it. Okay. So don't be afraid to bring it up. Don't be afraid to call it out. If it feels aggressive, it's not. But if it does, say something like, listen, I care about you. I love our conversations, and you're paying me for this. So I want to make sure I'm doing my job. And my job is to make sure that you get what you want in your life and out of these sessions. So when we first talked, you said you needed XYZ to happen by this date. Does that feel like it's still your plan? How can I help you make sure that we get there? That's going to open up a whole thing. Okay. So first, just a refresher, we connected, we checked in on the short and long-term goals. Okay. I gave you a little bit of questioning to do there. Again, if you're trained, this probably sounds redundant. If you're new and you're trying to start selling coaching, I would highly recommend going through this structure with a practice person first. Just like I say in sales, don't practice on the prospect. Don't practice on the prospect in sales, and don't practice on the client that's paying you. Okay. I'm not going to kill anybody to do a few pro bono sessions or to rope your boyfriend or your girlfriends in for a sample session. Okay. So we've connected, we've checked in on commitments. Now we're getting the coaching request. This, to me, is the most important part of the call. This is where you are figuring out what they actually want to walk away from the session with. If you don't get a coaching request, it does not count as a coaching call. It's not. It's a conversation about whatever it's a conversation about, but it's not a coaching request. You don't have a coaching request. That's, I swear, it's when you're going to end up with clients who are like, well, she was nice, but I don't really like, I didn't actually accomplish anything working with her. Like, that was a lot of money, but like my life still looks the same. Literally, worst fear. My worst fear as a coach would be someone who walks away with nothing having changed in their life. Ugh. So if we want to ensure or be proactive that they are bringing requests and they are moving forward, actually accomplishing things, you're going to get a proper coaching request. Okay. Here's how you get the coaching request. I'm literally going to give you the 5 questions to ask in order to get a really solid coaching request that makes sense to everybody. Okay. I don't care if it sounds awkward. Your clients are going to appreciate some structure. Okay. A little bit of predictability on these calls and a strongly held structure by the coach builds trust. It builds intimacy. It makes them feel safe. It helps them know what to expect. And life is so freaking unpredictable. Do not take for granted the opportunity you have to create a safe, predictable, trusting environment for your client. Okay? That is your job. Having a set structure will do that. Having a certain set of questions that they can be prepared to answer also does that. You could even have them submit a coaching request to you ahead of time. If you use a service like Paperbell, which I'll tag in the notes down below. And while you're down below finding that paper bell link, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video if it is helping you become an amazing coach, because if you're an amazing coach, the longevity of your career is pretty much endless. Okay. But Paperbell is a great thing that you can, it's a software that you can use to enroll your clients. And then once they're enrolled and they have their contract in there and their payment, all of that's so lovely and so easy to use. And I don't think you even have to pay for it until you have clients paying you. So win-win. There is a way for you to also be able to send reminder emails or send different notifications to them. So you could have something sent out 24 or 48 hours before your session with a couple of these questions to get them ready ahead of time. Like I said, you may think, based on last session, oh, we're probably just going to be talking about like building her website again. Do you know how many times I have gotten on a coaching call thinking that we were going to be talking about the reason that they hired me in the first place, and it is completely left field? The ICF says it's dancing with the moment. Again, this is where it's like the art of coaching. It's not so much science, it's an art. but you have to be prepared sometime for the unexpected. And having this set of 5 questions that I'm about to give you is going to help you be able to coach around anything clearly. Okay. So, number one, how would you like to use our time today? Okay. So once they've gone through their commitments and stuff, and they've probably tried to take you on a journey with them, you're going to say, okay, let me get clarity on the coaching request first. Okay. How would you like to use our time today? They're going to answer it. Okay. The next one, what do you want to walk away with from our session? That's where they're going to say, like, I need a plan, I need a to-do list, I need to put information into my calendar, I need to feel better, whatever it may be. What do you need to walk away from our session today? Next one, number 3, how will you know you got what you needed from our time today? How will you, don't stack a question on there, just leave it and let them be. The first couple sessions with a new client, they might be like, I don't know, just ask it again. How will you know? How will you know you got what you needed from our time today? I don't know. Just think about it. Like, what would it feel like to have everything you needed after our session? Number 4, and how does this play into the bigger issue? Another way to say that is like, what's really going on here? Like, what is this really about? Or how does this play into other areas of your life? Okay. What larger issue does this request address? Or what's this really about? Those are the best 2 ways for question number 4. And then number 5, crucial, crucial, crucial final component of a really solid coaching request is, how does this support insert the reason they hired you? Okay. So how does this request today support our long-term plan of finding the love of your life? So that way, if they bring you something seemingly left field on your coaching call, you're asking them to thread it, to bring it together, to find that connection, right? And this happens all the time. People come, well, I want a program that teaches me about a niche, and a niche is a marketing thing. A niche is a marketing, okay? And that's it. I mean, maybe you would need some extra resources or something, but the real thing is you don't know what your clients are going to come with. Okay. They hire you as a career coach. They come with a different request. It happens. And it will make sense to them. You're going to ask them to make that connection. How does this request today play into the reason they hired you in the first place? Okay. That's your coaching request. That you're spending the next bulk of the call, around like 30 minutes or so, coaching around that request. Like I said, pull out the 100 powerful coaching questions. It's a totally free resource to help you in that section. You are taking notes during that. You are asking open-ended questions. You are reflecting. You are reframing, actively listening. You are writing down when they say, oh, I really need to do that. You just said you really needed to work out this week. Do you want to actually get that in your calendar? How much do you want to work out? How many days per week? That's where we're clarifying the goals throughout. Okay. And after we do that for about 30, 35 minutes or so, we're moving into the next part, which is a review of the commitments and practice areas. So as you've been coaching, they've been taking notes, you've been taking notes, and now you have this little like plan, commitments, action steps, whatever you call them. And this is where you say to your client, all right, now we're just getting close to the end of the call. I've been taking a ton of notes here, but I'd love to hear from your side. Like, what do you have as your commitments so far from this call today? Great. You're following along with your notes, making sure you have the same thing. If they missed something, if they added something, making sure you're on the same page. You have the what's and you have the by when's. Okay. Clear, clear, clear goals. And then we're going to move to the last part, which is the closing and the completion of the call. Okay. Another opportunity for you to be super standardized, predictable, safe, trusting environment. You want to get to the end of the call. You can warn them too and say, we've got about, 3 minutes left. I just want to make sure that you got what you needed from our call today. What was your biggest breakthrough? Or what were your major insights from our session today? This is going to help you also see like what you're really great at coaching at. Like, you should be tracking what they say here. What clarity have you gained? And then I always ask too, was anything missing or incomplete from this call today? Or did we step over anything? I want to make sure that I capture it to get right into on our next session if it still feels relevant. And my favorite, favorite, favorite way to end a coaching call is by asking them, how can I show you gratitude today? Or what would you like to be acknowledged for today? Okay. I highly recommend having 1 to 3 closing questions that you, without fail, have at the end of your session. One is to help you to see what breakthroughs they had, also to see where you were really a great coach. Like, what did you super duper help them with today? Number 2, making sure if anything was missing or incomplete. And number 3, ending it on a super positive note of acknowledgement or gratitude. Okay. So that is all 6 sessions of a coaching call. All Those are all 6 components of a powerful transformational coaching call. Highly recommend you follow that structure, you implement it on your next coaching call and all that move forward. By the end of your coaching, if you have taken great notes too, you're going to have this list of breakthroughs that they've accomplished week by week. You're going to be able to have tracked their progress. There is no one in the world that's going to be able to come to you and say, I didn't get anything out of that, because you are going to have all of this tracked evidence from them saying, here's what I've gotten out of it, right? And some of it's going to blow your mind, and some of it's going to seem boring to the client. And when you reflect back to them after different sessions or by the end and say, here's everything that you've accomplished in the last 3 months, it is going to blow their mind. Okay. And it's going to help them see the transformation that they created with your support. And that is ultimately what we want to do as coaches. We want to be transforming lives. So I hope this was helpful for you. Please like this video. Please share it with a fellow coach. Please ask your questions below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you next time.